everybody. Now I'm going to be upgrading the processor in a Compaq Presario CQ56 laptop. This is a part system laptop I recently got. One thing I need to do is get these girly stickers off of here, but I'll do that later on. But what we'll be doing is we're going to be swapping out the really basic Sempron and V140 processor for a Phenom 2. Or Phenom 2, however you want to call it. I've always called them Phenom chips. Phenom 2. Not exactly sure. This came out of another part system a while back. Actually, I remember where it came from. Yeah, I remember it came out of a I think it was a heck, I can't remember. Some model of HP computer the motherboard failed in. But anyways, this is it. One thing to take note of here is it turns out this Phenom 2 chip was not fully compatible with this laptop. That's the thing when it comes to laptops like this, is you can't always find a good resource of information as to what CPU is compatible and what is not compatible. I ended up swapping in an Athlon 2 dual-core chip that was fully compatible. Now the Phenom 2 did boot up, and you could use the machine. Matter of fact, I installed Windows 10 using that chip. But in the BIOS and in the system properties, it would show AMD processor model unknown. So the microcode didn't know exactly what was there. So theoretically, you wasn't utilizing the full potential of the CPU. I mean, you could probably install it and use it, but it's not really something I would recommend in a case like this. Of course, when I shot this video, I had no idea that the Phenom 2 was not necessarily compatible. Now, as mentioned, this machine, I couldn't find a lot of information on what was compatible, what was not, so my only option really was to just slap a chip in there and see if it worked. I can't remember exactly what model of Athlon 2 I swapped in there, but I think you should be good to go with Athlon 2s and Turion 2s. But you won't be able to use a Phenom 2 unless you're okay with it not being fully compatible with the machine. So anyways, the process to swap in an Athlon 2 or Turion 2 on this machine is pretty much the same thing. It's just giving you a heads up here about the CPU compatibility. We'll start out by removing the battery, which of course this one don't have a battery with it because it's a parts machine. Didn't come with a battery for some odd reason. So once you have your battery removed, you'll go ahead and begin removing screws from the laptop. First, we'll start out with removing the access covers. And unfortunately, this is one of those laptops ready to do a full teardown to change out a CPU. So, yeah, this is going to be one of those. Remove these two access doors. And go ahead and slide out the DVD drive. Which it should, okay, actually, it's this one here. The screw there. Removes the DVD drive. There we go. Set that to the side. Remove your hard disk drive. This one currently does not actually have a hard drive in it, as it was a parts machine. I'll probably be picking up an SSD or something for this thing, since they are getting cheaper and cheaper these days. Now keep in mind, hard drive removal may not be necessary for this, but you'll definitely want to remove the cable connection here. That's a definite must. thing I find interesting is all the screws, at least in the bottom of this thing, the main screws have this coating on them. I find that very weird. Almost like somebody has worked on this thing before. I don't know the history of it. So you want to remove all the screws from the bottom of the laptop and place them in groups according to their size. For example, the M2.5 by 5s in one pile, the M2.5 by 3s in another pile, and the M2.5, I believe, by 6.5s will be going into a separate pile. Just make sure you keep your screws grouped accordingly, so that way you'll know exactly where they're supposed to go. Rust on the bottom of that screw. We'll go ahead and disconnect the leads to the wireless card, or Wi-Fi card, and remove the card. Place it to the side. Removal of the memory isn't necessarily required. However, you can take it out if you wish. Now we'll go ahead and open the lid assembly. Next we'll go ahead and remove the keyboard. You need a fine knife or fine flat bladed screwdriver for this. Just be careful. And it should pop right out. Disconnect this cable. Place your keyboard to the side. And you have some additional screws to remove, just like we have this one here. Go ahead and disconnect this connector for your, I believe, your speakers. Disconnect this ribbon cable. I believe that's for the power button. Disconnect these cables here. I think these are for the palm rest. Now that those are disconnected, you can go ahead and start gently prying away at the palm rest. And it should not require a lot of force. Just be gentle with it. If you find a spot that where it's not coming loose, double check and make sure the screws have been taken out. Same goes for your keyboard. And again, you're trying to remove it, not break it. Essentially, there are a lot of snaps along where this thing goes together. And sometimes it may take the help of a screwdriver to give them to pop loose. Now let's go ahead and lift this out of the way. Now, of course, you'll notice now the laptop is a bit top heavy where the screen lid are. Just try to be careful with that. Okay, this is the motherboard. Let's see if you're seeing everything. Yeah, for the most part. We'll disconnect this cable. This is for the DVD drive. Disconnect your USB cable and your power cable. These can be hard to get to, just be gentle with them. And if your model has a webcam, disconnect the webcam here. This one does not have a webcam. Gently pull up on this cable here and disconnect it. Just gently pull it out. Yes, for the microphone. And disconnect your screen cable here. It has a pull tab here. It pulls out like so. Just be careful with it. And also your microphone cable has a little bit of adhesive there. Just pull it up. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the needed screws to take the motherboard out. One thing you'll notice is there's an arrow that shows MB and an arrow pointing at the screw. So that tells you this screw is needed to take the board out. It also it's also there to show you what screws you put back in to begin reassembly. It looks like we have just 2 screws. Go down here. One over here. And gently pull the motherboard out of the machine. On the other side is where the CPU is located. And if you need to replace your CMOS battery, there it is. That's crazy. They make it take the motherboard out just to change out the freaking CMOS battery. You can go ahead and set the rest of your laptop to the side, so now I can focus on changing out the CPU. Here are 3 screws that have to be taken out. First, we'll go ahead and disconnect the fan lead to the cooling fan. And now, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the cable for the fan first. Now I'll go ahead and take these 3 screws out. One thing I notice is there's 1, 2, and 3 noted on there. That's generally most important for reassembly. The whole assembly should now lift right out. And there's also some adhesive on the motherboard there. And of course, here is where the Northridge chip gets its cooling. Now we're going to want to go ahead and clean off your existing CPU die and the mating surface on the cooler. I'm going to grab 2 paper towels. One will be used for cleaning and the other will be used for cleaning after you apply some rubbing alcohol. If you don't have rubbing alcohol, you can use Windex. I've used it for years. But rubbing alcohol, I personally like better. Because the alcohol evaporates a lot quicker. The reason I'm cleaning the old CPU die off is just that way when it's in storage it won't make a mess. You do not want to remove this. Leave that exactly the way it is. Go ahead and change out our processor. To unlock a socket, you insert a flathead screwdriver and give it a twist to the left until you hear a click. You just lift it right out. So this this particular AMD CPU, this says AMD processor on it. It don't even say it's a Sempron. What you'll do is you'll note there's a triangle on the bottom of the processor. You want that to match up the triangle on the socket. And it should just sit right in. And we'll go ahead and lock the socket back. There you go. Now we'll go ahead and clean off the CPU die. Actually, I'll keep using the same paper towel, just different spot. Go ahead and put a small amount of rubbing alcohol on your paper towel, or Windex if that's what you're using. Has a nice wintergreen smell to it. This particular kind does. Make sure the mating surface of your processor is good and clean. And the alcohol is already evaporating. That's the neat thing about it, is it evaporates very quickly. Now I'll go ahead and apply some fresh thermal compound to our CPU. There's always a huge battle between those who say, you need to put it on the center and just apply your heatsink, and nah, you need to spread it. Well, I'll be honest with you, here I spread it. Especially when it's on a die like this. Remember, that's not an integrated heat spreader, that's actually the CPU die. You want to try to ensure that the entire thing is covered. The entire thing is getting a good connection. Thermal connection with the cooler. And what do you know, I have some extra Phenom 2 stickers, never before used. A long time ago I got a Phenom 2 processor, and apparently the machine that drops the labels into the package put like 5 or 6 of them in there when we're supposed to put 1. That's always nice. Never hurts to have extra stickers. I'm applying a very small amount of this stuff to the center of the die. That right there is plenty. Probably more than enough. Now I have a particular applicator I use for dies. And of course, the excess will be left on your applicator. Now go ahead and reapply the cooler to the motherboard in reverse order. Tighten this screw down, followed by this one, and followed by this one. Each of these have tensioning springs under them. And it also applies pressure onto the Northbridge chip. And do not forget to plug in the fan. Otherwise your laptop will overheat. Now it's a matter of doing everything in reverse. Go ahead and grab our laptop. Just carefully set it back down into here. There we go. Go ahead and reinstall our 2 motherboard screws. Okay, let's go ahead and plug in our power and see how this thing does. Looks like it's doing pretty good. Let's go into the BIOS. It looks like our machine's gonna probably need a BIOS update because it's showing processor model unknown, but it did boot up and it seems to be running. So yeah, not too bad there. Yeah, so probably once I get let me see. Once I get Windows installed on this, get a hard drive and get Windows installed, update the BIOS, and it should take care of that. Yeah. So anyways, we now have a new processor. I'm not sure what's going on with this LCD display either. I can't remember if I saw that when I first done the part system video or not. Looks like I may have to change out the LCD in this thing. But we have our CPU upgraded. Yes, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, I sure hope you guys enjoyed this video from Q Computer Channel. Remember to like the video, subscribe to Q Computer Channel for more updates, and remember to tick the bell so that we actually get notified of these updates. Did you know that I am also on a second channel that's CubeComp MTDX? Over there you'll find videos of bicycling, weather, elevators, and all sorts of other neat and interesting stuff. Feel free to subscribe to that channel as well. And again, I thank you for your support, and thanks for watching this video.